getting better and better every game.
Well, it all does start here in Champs Select. We're into the draft for game number 1. Cloud9 over on the blue, TL hanging out on the red. Karma, actually the first ban there for Sinan. Cassio, though, banned by Team Liquid, and Trundle to follow as Cloud9's second ban. Pretty curious start to this draft.
Yeah, a lot of mid lane bans early. The Trundle is also targeted directly at Lorlo because his last 3 games have been on Trundle, and the majority of his games really this split were on that champion. So I think Impact is going to look to try and get an upper hand in that matchup, and they're just making sure Lolo isn't on a comfortable champion.
Well, Vlad ban there, so pretty standard stuff for TL, so I'll take that one away second. Cloud9 looking for their third ban there. We'll see if more mid laners get picked off, because between these two, Jensen and Phoenix have an awful lot of, not just overlap in their champion pool, but when they get those strong champions, they can absolutely take over a game.
Yeah, I mean, the Azir and the Victor are both still available. With the Rise and the Vladimir being banned away, both these guys have proven to be able to play those champions, and yet another mid lane ban comes through. And this puts Cloud9 in a very interesting situation because Phoenix has had some spectacular games on Victor, but he's not the champion that jumps into your mind as the de facto first pick. He's relatively low mobility early on in the game before he can get his Hexcore upgrades, and you can also play LeBlanc into it and have relative success depending on the matchup. So it's not decided to be first picked, and they instead go with Shen.
Yeah, and first pick Shen's kind of curious. Impact has certainly been picking up the champion more and more. 4 plays total with a lot of those games coming recently. But maybe a champion that's starting to rise in popularity, because, I mean, super solid tank, very safe first pick, but this is not priority we've seen until today.
Yeah, specifically with the LCK and Korean influence on these teams as well. Loco Doco and Reaper, both these coaches have played in the LCK. They pay very close attention to that region. And over there, Shen is really shooting up in popularity. Not many champions seem to be able to bully him out of lane, and then the global map pressure as well as late game team fighting from either a protection or a dive enhancer are both really, really high. So with so many things banned away that would normally be priority first picks, the Shen makes perfect sense.
And his Sivir and Rek'Sai actually for Team Liquid, so kind of denying that away from Meteos. Meteos has a ton of Rek'Sai games, 12 coming into today. So Data going to steal that one away, and Fabi dodges the Ashe this time around, decides to take Sivir instead as his utility AD carry.
Yeah, so many Ashe games between both of these guys. I mean, I think Cloud9 could still very easily go with Ashe, since that what Sneaky got a Penico with last week. I don't see any major problems with these picks so far, but it does still leave Cloud9 with a lot of opportunity. They really get to figure out their team composition with these next 2 picks.
Yeah, both teams drafting really safe and really solid. But Cloud9 going to have to show us quite a bit more here with picks 2 and 3. 20 seconds left for Cloud9 to decide kind of what direction they want this team comp to take. We talked about Shen already. Super solid, rising in popularity, feels like a pick you're happy with in almost any matchup.
Ooh.
But what do they do after that? That would be quite a change for Meteos.
Yeah, definitely a throwback for him. I mean, Kindred is still on the board. You look at his jungle history, and even though he's played a lot of Graves in the past, especially when you watch him stream, he hasn't played in LCS. Nope. Funnily enough, I was watching the stream the other day, had a great Graves game. So
that's what it's all about. It's just momentum.
Carry that momentum over. Super interesting that he decides to play Graves against the Rek'Sai. Maybe he wants to keep his distance. But with Kindred still up, that is making me think maybe they want some type of wombo combo thing, because Graves can follow up very well with group CC. That's about all I can think of right now that would put him over, other than just feeling comfy on the champion.
Well, not going to show us just yet. Graves and Braum the selections there for Cloud9, so Bunny Fufu going to take that support into battle this time around. Team Liquid, where are they going with these next few picks? There's the Bardlock in, and there's the Fiora. Lolo just straight up challenges Impact in that top lane.
Yeah, they challenge him in a couple of different ways. With the Bard for Matt, his name used to be Matt Life, and everyone loved his Bard. That's how he got famous. And then Lorlo has, we keep saying he's successful on carries, and we also say that Shen matches up favorably with a lot of things. Well, one thing that will outscale Shen in the late game and make his split pushing irrelevant is a fed Fiora. But Lorlo is not who comes to mind when you're thinking of the dude who's going to carry the game on a split pusher. But that's what Team Liquid's going to have to go for if they want to win.
Yeah, it's been playing more of the fighters, I guess. Aurelia, Trundle, obviously, which was banned away here by Cloud9.
Yeah, the things that can duel and get lane supremacy, but also have an element of tankiness. Whereas Fiora, even if you go with the Titanic build, is usually
brittle.
Best suited by being brittle and building, stacking lifesteal and getting a lot of attack damage.
Well, see if Lola can get there, but Cloud9 are going to finish things off here. We talked about the Victor. Definitely a pick that these mid laners share. Strong finish of the draft for Cloud9. Ashe and Victor down the border. Almost feels like Cloud9 got exactly what they wanted here.
I love Cloud9's team composition right here. The only thing that feels a tiny bit out of place is Graves, but when you see it with the rest of the team composition, now they can combo up with an Ash Arrow, it's more burst that can follow the Ash Arrow, so that's how the Graves fits in at the very end of it. And then Team Liquid go with an enabler in the mid lane, like, that's a bold composition. That's such high execution on everything for Team Liquid, which will be really hard to work up against Cloud9, who is just going to almost bulldoze right through you with that team composition. So favorably, I actually like C9's team composition more, and I usually like giving credit to both sides, but like I'm really favoring Cloud9 right now.
Yep, and unless I'm mistaken, I think this is Phoenix's first Zilean game. We've seen a bit of it, but that is a lot of power in Lolo's hands. Zilean can certainly support some of these carries, but maybe a shift in power here for Team Liquid. We'll see how it works out, but you said it on the other side. Cloud9 looking great on that draft.
Yeah, Phoenix has only played it once, and it was against Echo Fox back a couple of weeks ago. They did win with it, but as we were saying, like, Phoenix has performed much better against the lesser teams. He needs to be able to have that big performance against the higher tier teams, and this will be a really exciting game. We talked about how Phoenix and Jensen are really going to go toe-to-toe, and Zilean can technically get some ganks going onto a Victor early, but he's an enabler for the team more than carry.
Well, let's get this series rolling. Send us on the Summoners Rift with your vote out on Twitter. C9 fans, use the hashtag C9win, and Liquid supporters, tweet that hashtag TLWin. This should be a series, and Game 1 already delivering with the champs like Cloud9. All the tools they need to try and dismantle Liquid, but Liquid are a team that seem to be slowly on the rise.
Yeah, that's what that seems to be our forever storyline with Team Liquid. Like, you know what? They haven't been winning, but it feels like they're going to win. And I'm not sure exactly what contributes to that, whether it's how confident they speak in interviews, whether it's how it always seems like they have potential, but even if you just look at the results, it's not like some forced storyline that Team Liquid has been improving. They started abysmally, and then they started doing much better. The problem would be them getting smashed by Immortals at the very end of last week, and whether or not they get smashed by Cloud9 here, because then it becomes a much more normalized storyline of, oh, they're placed exactly where they should be. They lose to the better teams, and they beat the worst teams. And this is where Team Liquid can try and create that storyline of them actually being an improving team that needs to be reckoned with against anyone.
Yep, and that's going to be Liquid's thing. If they want to prove that they are indeed a top team in North America, they're going to have to do something that's been very tricky in the NALCS so far, Jat. It's upset. We've had very few upsets so far, and Cloud9, I don't think they want that to change. 4-0 last weekend. They're approaching a streak, we'll call it. We'll see if they handle it here as the teams do fan out and lane swap vision is set up, so it could be swapping things up to kick this first game off. Yeah,
it's interesting, actually, as far as the lanes they would want to manipulate here, because I feel like Bard is a stronger laning support than Braum, yet Ashe would be stronger than Sivir. So I think it's a lane that you can 2v2 if you really want to. And then Shen versus Fiora would potentially favor the Fiora. So it could actually be Cloud9 who was initiating that. It's hard to tell when they just kind of trade wards because they're expecting someone to go for them and they just decide to get the deep vision. Either way, when you have wards like this, you usually end up getting a swap.
Well, based on current positioning, we will get one. Cloud9 going to move their duo lane towards that top half as Jensen eats a bomb to start his lane off here in mid lane. We'll certainly be paying close attention to these two as Matt just has a waddle through the jungle, but doesn't see anything. Does have good vision down, but understandably, Meteos and Impact in the jungle together here, starting on the blue buff.
Yeah, I actually favor Cloud9 start a little bit more. Impact didn't even try and go in lane, whereas Lorlo was trying to sneak a few CS while the duo lane would be tanking a camp, and he is getting, let's check, so far no CS, but he was able to stay in range for a little bit of experience. But now he's going to be in danger of actually getting dove because Impact has been very sneaky coming up here. Impact is only level 1, so he can't taunt. Means Lorlo can just kind of back away, but Impact is going to be asserting dominance.
Yep, message received. Just walks him away from the turret, and C9 will actually begin pushing. Lolo actually going to TP down, so not too much lost here on the lane swap, but a summoner cooldown burnt may at least be the first early impact here.
Technically, Lorlo was able to get about 3 minions worth of experience, so that is the cost of a teleport, and really, your resources are so starved at the very beginning of a game as a top laner. It's hard to say that that's actually a bad decision by Team Liquid for that experience for the teleport. It really just depends on whether or not Impact can make use of that advantage.
Well, unfortunately for a jungle matchup, as you can see, Dardoch and Meteos just trading blue buffs with each other. They'll be doing just a lot of farming to start the early minutes of this game, so won't challenge each other just yet, but everything's going as normal so far. We'll see which one can clear a little faster. Both Rexa and Graves pretty good on the old clear speeds as Meteos finishes that off. Dardoch busy on the bottom side here, going to take down these Krugs as that first tower going for Cloud9. Team Liquid should answer shortly in the bottom lane.
Yeah, jungle efficiency. Let's see who's higher right now.
Well, they're going to stay here, collect what creeps he can. 1 CS apiece. low on impact, looking even on that front. Jensen and Phoenix, so continuing to battle. Phoenix doesn't quite get that second bomb in for that stun, but Dardoch fancying a dive. Oop, gives it away. Fires off a Prey Seeker just for some harass.
Yeah, Jensen wasn't pushed out in the lane. It's actually in a perfect spot right now for Jensen because he's able to farm without the turret eating a CS, but he's also in no real danger of getting ganked. So Phoenix has the lane in the less ideal place, and you can see the fan vote heavily in favor of C9.
Yep, looking good so far, 80%. We'll see if that shifts as the series moves on. As Dardoch now on the blue buff, could give it over to Phoenix. See if he wanders over to take it. Looks like he's making his way there now, so must be nice being a Rek'Sai, able to donate that blue buff early, but Matt and Impact gonna have a meeting. Matt winning right now at level 1. Ooh, very close on that Q. Does not quite land the stun though. As Phoenix returns to lane with that blue buff. He's gonna clear out what he can. Jensen though, again still farming it up. Death Ray out, and unfortunately again from mid lane matchup should be a lot of just trading farm back and forth in the early stages. These teams are going to be a little quiet for the first stages, although right now, yeah, it looks like we are going to swap back and trade some more turrets, so yeah, everything is normal for now.
I think so. I feel like this bottom lane is just going to be now trying to use the teleport advantage, but Lorlo is already matching that on the other side, so they're going to just end up trading these pretty standardly, and Meteos and Dardoch are going to continue trying to farm.
Well, I like it so far. Maybe explains the Grave choice a little more for Cloud9 if they were happy to play an early macro game for the first 5 to 10 minutes. Team Liquid, though, working on this turret, getting it done nice and quickly, but C9 should be able to answer pretty quickly. Seems like both teams completely on top of the early tempo of the lane swap, so nothing crazy going on just yet. As even Meteos going to make his way down to that bottom half. We'll see if maybe they think about a Drake afterwards, or if we just take a towers and run. Yeah,
they absolutely have the ability to have that tempo swap if they really want to. Graves would also be able to help them a fair bit with the jungle. Something that's super interesting, actually, is that Dardoch has rushed Ninja Tabby, of all things, especially if he's going to be looking to dual Meteos. Those would be good. It would reduce his damage, it would reduce the damage of Ashe as well, and we know Dardoch really likes to get up in the other jungler's face and try and take him down. But now we see Cloud9 going for Dragon, and I think Dardoch has sniffed this out expertly. Pink Ward helps with that, but he also was in the right spot.
Yep, going to clear out a ward as well with that Raptor sense, so good surveillance there from Dardoch. Again, just keeping tabs on this bottom half of the jungle as best he can. Jensen still forced to play back a little more as well. You can see he's just letting the wave hang back as Phoenix shoves it in with bombs every now and then. Again, pokes out, just make sure he knows he's there. Good bomb there from Phoenix as well for some harasses. The Cloud9 Drake attempt did indeed get quashed. And we'll swap things back. Looks like Sneaky and Bunny Fever are actually going back top lane right now, as this is cute.
Yeah, I mean, this is a core thing that continues to hurt Impact.
Ooh, very nice taunt. Might get away. Spirit's Refuge down. Forced to use the flash, though. Successful gank, I'll say, for TL.
Yeah, he has to be very cute with the way he escapes. And this is a persistent problem for Impact and the rest of Cloud9. It's that when they're done their lane swapping, he's usually staying out a little bit too long. And Jensen just used his ultimate to potentially wave clear before going back to base. I feel like he could have cleared the way pretty easily with a laser, but technically he's wanting to hit the right gold breakpoints before going back to base.
Well, he has gone back, pair of boots and 1 upgrade plus an amp tome, plus a pink ward, so kind of has everything he wants here in the early stages as Impact still stranded here in the bottom side with no flash. Could actually be a dive target now. Dardoch is farming up a storm right now. In fact, Meteos and him are going to meet. Level 6 for Meteos. Dardoch going to get forced out here.
Yeah, and Dardoch spent a little bit too much time pathing. Meteos already gone with the Tracker's Knife. Obviously, Dardoch's going to be a lot faster, but Meteos having level advantage will help him out a little bit. And interesting here how there's a solo push in the top lane from Sneaky, while it's actually Bunny supporting Impact down on the bottom side. So that's going to be a lot of farm and experience in particular for Sneaky for hitting level 6.
Yeah, I like it. Early team up for Lola as he comes up to clear this wave out, but Sneaky should be clear of any danger. Almost level 6, he's very close. I think he cleans out a camp that he's now on top of the enemy Krugs. He should be able to hit it, but maybe they'll make a play with the arrow. Kind of an interesting experience distribution for Cloud9 early on, as it really is the little things that add up. In the macro game, Lola, unfortunately, going to rain on his parade.
It's actually really dangerous for Sneaky. He's going to try and take the big Krug here. Lorlo, with the correct amount of burst, is able to take both of these things down. So Lorlo keeping up in farm very well, too. Like, this early lane swap doesn't necessarily favor anyone yet. No one's been super starved. No one's been super farm heavy. It's nice that Phoenix is actually kind of winning this matchup slightly against Jensen, but it is just that. It's very slight.
Yep. Really a little farm advantage is all it is, but it's a farm lane, so that's certainly where you want the power to be early on. Dardoch busy clearing out red buff. He's been power farming actually versus Meteos, ahead by actually 7 or 8 CS now. It's pretty substantial, although Meteos going to start catching up as he clears his own red buff down. We did see that Meteos has an XP advantage, but yeah, again, these early lane swaps, junglers just want to farm up.
Exactly, and if you check the gold, Meteos is actually a little bit ahead, so Dardoch has taken more minions, but that could just be, you know, raptor camps or something where they give a lot of minions but not as much gold. It's really just a, you hate to call it these, but it's a farm up right now. The gold distribution, there's actually a 400 gold lead for Lorlo over Impact, which would be the most important thing for Team Liquid, because in order for this competition to work for Team Liquid, Lorlo has to be able to crush Impact in the swap, and they need to be able to hold out as long, very long, while dodging initiations from Ash Arrows. Like, that is pretty much their plan in this game, and if it gets super late, it may even favor TL if Lorlo was ahead, because by that point, Matt could have a Mikhail's, and people could have QSS's, and the Ash Arrows wouldn't be reliable initiations. Well, so, a passive early game is totally fine for TL.
Yep, and they'll actually look to take this Mountain Drake down. I like this play from TL, kind of asserting dominance, knowing Sneaky was in that top side of the map. C9 a little late. This early rotation, Team Liquid look to secure this uncontested. But you can see pings onto the Rift Herald, so C9 going to try and make a trade, but the first Drake does indeed go to Team Liquid.
Yeah, and it's very important that Cloud9 can get something back for that, and especially if Impact can get the Rift Herald, this buys them till at least 30 minutes before Lorlo can be a huge influence on the game, and it makes it as well... What was that? And it makes it as well that Lorlo doesn't get it, right? Because he would have even more of an impact in the game if he's able to pull that one off, especially with the early Hydra. Being able to get that damage reduction against Shen would basically make him unkillable. But I think that's a totally fine trade this early for Cloud9.
Yep, and Cloud9 actually continuing to leave the dual lane on the top half of the map for now. Sneaky now level 6, Bunny Fufu not quite there yet as Phoenix and Meteos. No meeting, just Meteos going to take away a camp. Jensen there to support him though, so not too much danger. And again, just a lot of early movement here by these teams. Lola, though, building up a nice farm advantage in the bottom lane. Will push the lane because of the Tiamat. Impact now going to move down and catch that wave as it comes forward. But Lolo trying to deny what he can here as that cannon falls with Impact not around to take it. It's a sad day.
Ooh, nice bomb by Phoenix. And I do have to point out how these junglers have been so predictive of where each other have been. Like, when the Drake was being taken versus when the Rift Herald was being taken, both junglers then went for the Raptors.
Sneaky Meteos. There it is, the arrow. Oh, Phoenix, good flash. Woo! I could see that one a mile away, but Phoenix, great reflexes to get out from under that.
And it's so key that he was able to flash in the proper direction, because a lot of guys can see an arrow and just flash away from it, but so often your reflexes are to just flash backwards from incoming danger, and that's the last thing you want to do against an Ash Arrow because it'll still hit you. So the fact that he flashed down a little bit and still managed to speed away for the escape makes it very impressive.
Well, no first blood just yet. And Phoenix, you can see every time a bomb lands onto Jensen does huge damage with the early Rod of Ages built up. Victor, though, 2 upgrades now on the Hex core, so Jensen not feeling particularly miffed about the situation. And Cloud9 continuing to play inverted standard lanes for a little while longer. W Matt going to clear this out, but it's a little dangerous as Jensen goes back in onto Phoenix. Good poke there, but Zillion going to speed away under his turret.
Yeah, and really, this is still okay for Team Liquid. Lorlo is getting more farm in these swaps than Impact is. And it's very important, as we said, that Lorlo has a significant farm advantage later in the game. The worry for Team Liquid, though, is how that 4-man squad would do elsewhere. And this looks like a dive attempt by Dardoch.
Big dive, good flash there, but the ulti out from Shen. Jensen going to try and get out of it, but the Bard ulti hits the tower. He dodges out of the way, and Impact taunts back in just to make sure his team is safe. And Jensen survives.
Jensen is one of the best players I've seen at those micro jukes, where you have a very small movement direction one side, like if you're dodging an Elise Cocoon, and you need to stay away from those things. Like, he managed to dodge out of the Bard ultimate while also just going just far enough where he could still make the escape. Just very impressive movement, but very nice double bomb by Phoenix.
Yeah, great binding there by Matt's going to set that all up. Bunny Fufu and Meteos chunked out there as Team Liquid may look to continue this siege. As it is, though, well, abort mission for now. And Sneaky continuing to get a lot of free farm. He talked about Loli versus Impact being positive in CS there for the top lane. Is Sneaky a little bit ahead of Fabi here, been gifted a lot of early side lane farm here in the lane swap.
Exactly, and that's going to be pretty critical. Ashe, when she gets to 3 major items, can start dealing unreal damage. Another team composition thing we have to point out as well, because we almost saw it there, was the Bard and Zillion inherent synergy, where you can land the Bard ultimate, put 2 Zillion bombs down on someone on the ultimate, and they will immediately be stunned. And actually, the only thing that can prevent you from getting CC'd there is you're able to buffer a click on a Thresh Lantern while you're in the Bard ultimate, but no Thresh in this game. So that initiation, Cloud9 needs to be incredibly fearful of.
And we've seen that from TSM, I believe. Whipped that one out and had some pretty spectacular results with it. Team Liquid will see if they can replicate that success. As again, all quiet for the first 14 minutes. Some attempts now as Team Liquid look to jockey for position. Lolo and Impact having a battle though, and Impact winning a bit for now. He's got the wave on his side, and that Glimpse of the Void's also helping out. Lolo still kind of needs to farm up here on the Fiora.
Yeah, and you can see Cloud9 is starting to shift their vision priority towards the bottom lane. They'd actually littered Team Liquid's red buff with wards after taking the Rift Herald, and we're hoping that the payoff for that was going to be a kill on a Phoenix in the mid lane. But Phoenix was able to flash away from the arrow. Now, Cloud9 sends their numbers down this side. Meteos has a Tracker's Knife. They use their trinkets aggressively in the side of Cloud9's jungle and also try and get the sweepers off. So they are prepping a minute and a half in advance for a dragon fight. Yep,
really smart stuff here as Meteos actually does get the ward, collapses the tunnel, takes the Grump away. Just a healthy amount of counter jungling and pressure exerted on this right-hand side of the map. Liquid, though, answering kind, clear the ward that Meteos just put down with his Tracker's Knife. But Scuttle Vision should go over to Cloud9 here, and could have our first major battle at around the 15-minute mark as that Drake's starting to spawn.
Exactly, and I think it slightly favors Cloud9 right now with triple Hex Core upgrade, a completed Sunfire Cape. Yes, there is a Cinder Hulk on Dardoch, but just more completed items at the moment. Also, Matt's gone mobility boots on Bard, which would technically be looking to make roaming plays, but hasn't gotten the roaming plays quite yet. So for Cloud9, they're hoping for a slower setup where they can get an Ash Arrow. Team Liquid is looking to get a kill before the Drake can happen, since they don't actually have as good ward setup. They're going for Jensen.
He's got an awfully big target on his far, a bit sneaky actually there.
Oh, Matt's in trouble.
Maybe get some damage down. One auto, there's the arrow, hits Dardoch in the face as Matt flashes out. Team Liquid will survive for now, but nary a cooldown used for Cloud9.
Really clever, actually, by both teams right there. The way they were zoning Matt out and how Matt knew the Ash Arrow was going to be going for it. And Dardoch actually kind of intentionally seemed to get hit by that Ash Arrow because he knew he was tanky enough and he had enough teammates by him that if he gets hit by that, it's no real threat. But because they used flashes, Cloud9 can get even more control over the vision here. Impact still has Shen ultimate. Lorlo did finish Ravenous Hydra, but is still level 8. And this could actually be an uncontested Drake. Let's see, though, if Team Liquid thinks otherwise.
Blue buff stolen by Jensen, so we'll have that for the battle as well. Team Liquid somewhat positioned around the area, but Cloud9 should have a league with Shen in the top lane with the ulti. Matt now tagged again. Drake goes over to Cloud9. Buddy Fufu falls it in.
All the way in.
He wants to try and CC Matt, but now I think he has to bail. Does take some damage, but he'll get back to safety with his teammates.
Yeah, he needs a little help from his friends if he's going to take that magical journey, but the help is not there. Oh, Meteos also steals a Gromp. That's a huge swing for Cloud9. Just the Drake into the jungle invade.
Really good stuff there from Cloud9. As we'll see where the teams look to next. Next Drake will be Cloud. So have that in about 6 minutes time. As Jensen continues to shove the waves out there with that blue buff he rightfully stole out from Team Liquid. Crab down there as Impact gets a bit more vision on the left-hand side of the map. And Lolo actually getting creative. Gonna 1v1 the blue buff and now Impact.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to run here. Sunfire Cape plus Glimpse of the Void.
Causing problems. Ooh, gets a flash.
Yeah, I mean, Lorlo didn't have his lunge cooldown up to be able to get over that in time, and he was fearful of Impact getting the collapse on him, and, you know, gets punished for the invade, and that kind of goes to show you the power of Rift Herald, as well as how much longer Fiora needs to take to become relevant.
Yep, gonna need some of that time. Just the Ravenous Hydra now. Really wants to build up to 2 or 3 items. Lolo goes back. Now as the components for a fade, so starting to get there, but certainly a little ways to go. Mid lane turrets, though, should be staying quite healthy throughout a lot of this game, given that we've got plenty of wave clear between the Victor and the Zillion, as Jensen, blue buffs for days, goes ahead and takes his own blue buff now that Lolo tried to take away from him. But we'll see these teams probably just play pivot around the mid lane for a little while longer, as this is an awfully open map for an early stage in the game, and what, almost 18 minutes in, Gold is close to dead even, and there's still no first blood.
And one Drake for both teams. Mountain Drake actually fairly effective late game in close matchups because it allows you that rotational advantage when you're trying to burst down a turret or a Baron very quickly. But Infernal Drake, for Cloud9, if they want to just kind of bulldoze over, having that extra attack damage and ability power will, I would think, be more valuable than it would be for Team Liquid.
Ooh, hello, Dardoch.
Yeah.
Gets out.
Gonna zip out of there. And yeah, you spoke about the mid lane being the area of contention, and I completely agree. It really depends on the type of vision control these teams can get down, because both teams have actually tried fairly invested ganks towards the mid lane with 2 or 3 or 4, and in Team Liquid's case, they actually sent 5 people there at one point and were unable to kill Jensen. So it's vision control, and I think the first team to kill the mid laner gets the mid lane turret and potentially a couple thousand gold in advantage.
Ooh, Impact barely misses that taunt, but you can see the glimpse of the void damage. Shen looking just fine in the current situation there for top laners. C9, though, continuing to translate up towards that top half. Sneaky apparently owns this lane now, going to continue getting that farm. Does have SN3, but in fact, both AD carries to finish up their first major item, but we really are sort of waiting for either a breakpoint, maybe like that midsection that you mentioned, or a big team fight to erupt, and that'll probably have to happen around objectives. So far, both teams, I love the way they're playing, and the lack of first blood in this game isn't like teams being not wanting to do anything. It's both teams being very good at both offense and defense.
Yeah, they're kind of guessing where the other team is going to make their opportunities, and they're making some decent mechanical outplays when they're caught in a dangerous situation. Not to mention, we're not seeing overcommittals. Like, all those things lead to having very few kills. That being said, like, both these teams have a lot of tools to get fights.
Yep.
So it's unlikely that we're going to be setting that 26.5-minute record for latest first blood in a game. I usually jinx games when I'm like, in a couple minutes, this could be the latest first blood ever, and then somebody dies. But technically, latest first blood from this split is 25 minutes and 13 seconds. I think all time is around 26 or 27 minutes, but we got a good 5 minutes before we approach that space for time.
Well, we'll keep it in mind, but Meteos is going to take away that red buff. Got a fade for himself, actually, so really aggressive build potentially there from Meteos out of the jungle. Dardoch on the other side, going for that standard Cinderhawk sight zone, although I do like the 2 longswords that he's got hanging out. That's a bit of a difference. Baron spawn, though.
Yeah, he's going Hydra, most likely, unless he really wants to go Cleaver or something crazy. I always thought Cinderhawk Black Cleaver would be good on Rek'Sai, but I don't play Rek'Sai very much, and it's usually not true. I think it's the Hydra is much better. There we go, team has completed.
Alrighty, so it will be the Hydra. So a bit more split pushing carry presence for Dardoch. Definitely fits his MO as a player. He's playing these tank junglers, he's trying to be more of a supportive player for the team, but at the end of the day, he's like, still building TMM, boys. Don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, also got to notice early on how he's very late in upgrading his jungle item. He usually favors mobility and then a Sightstone even. Like, that is his way of doing Rek'Sai. Very effective for getting map coverage early, which is one of Rek'Sai's larger strengths, and then he'll build into the tankiness when he expects to be coming into team fights.
Sneaky again position for an arrow just off to the left of mid lane. Hookshot's out.
That Hawkshot's going to see a pink ward as well. Like, that is one of the best hidden powers of the Hawkshot, is it actually lets you see enemy pink wards. Same thing was true back when you Spooky Ghosts was a common item in the mid lane. Is like the number of pink wards you would spot out just by pressing the button every 45 seconds was insane.
Free vision is best vision as Dardoch gets a level up as well from Phoenix. Team Liquid continuing to invest in the jungler. Jensen, though, he's like 4v1 right now.
Could be turret.
Yeah, gonna lose it here. C9 not ready to defend, and the first mid lane turret does actually go to Team Liquid.
And in a roundabout way, that was because Team Liquid pink warded their own red buff. Sneaky hawkshot it in, decided he wanted to clear the pink ward while it was there, but then the distance that created between himself and mid lane gave Team Liquid a window to push down mid without being fearful of a collapse. So really good strategic play there by Team Liquid to punish Cloud9 for the smallest of overcommittal.
It's all ruse, Jat, but success certainly for TL. Now up in turrets 3-2, although Cloud9 technically up in gold. Not a huge deal at this point. And again, it really is the macro level wins we'll have to take so far. Team Liquid likely happy with how that's gone out, but Cloud9, if they can answer soon, or maybe to start the fight we've been looking for around this next Cloud Drake, which is spawning right now, could have an opening really begun here from either team.
With the Randwinds and a Sunfire Cape being completed for Impact, he is such a monster tank right now because Zillion's not going to be doing the damage to take him down, and everyone else on Team Liquid is pretty much all physical damage. So Cloud Drake seems like it's something that Cloud9 will be favoring while Team Liquid just continues to draw this game out. I think it's somewhat unlikely they do a fight, but maybe they try and go and get something with Zillion Silver Bard.
Well, Matt uses the ulti, but it's actually just to delay the Drake here. Cloud Drake is going to go over to C9 unless TL really want to commit for a steal. They do not, though. And Cloud9 do take Drake number 2 for themselves. The Team Liquid trying to shove down mid lane, get a little bit of traction, but they've been stopped already by the looks of things. Impact's going to chase them away.
Yeah, and you're always waiting for that Ash Arrow to try and come out from Sneaky, but it's going to be very tricky to make it work against the Zillion. You land the Ash Arrow. We've even seen Fabio on Ash against his Zillion. Like, every Ash Arrow he landed would pop a Zillion ultimate, and then you actually need to kill the second person before you can get anything done. And that's just a huge committal, and it's going to be even more difficult against a Bard who can counter-initiate very well with the Tempered Fate. So I think that's another one of those reasons we're 23.5 minutes in with still no first blood.
Yeah, we've got some pretty great a long-range, non-committal CC to start fights off between Ashe and Bard on either side. So teams definitely playing carefully around those fog of war positions. But so far, no first blood still. We're getting there, Jet.
And it's also the combination of both these teams being able to block it decently well. Like if Team Liquid decide to go for one, Impact could potentially block it with a Shen ultimate. And then Ashe Arrow and Braum ult and Victor Gravity Field are all very difficult things to engage through. Of course, we haven't actually seen that many attempts at that either, because most of the time these teams have just been trying to match each other with wards, and they're very responsive to the other team's moves, which isn't leaving these high percentage windows to make plays happen.
Yeah, it feels like both teams have cleaned up a lot here, actually. Looking real crisp here for the first 24 minutes of the game. Trying to play around the map as best they can. Lolo starting to get strong. Black Cleaver now finished, so he's kind of on the way to being that big, scary Fiora, but maybe take one more item to really kick things off. In fact, everyone's almost got 2 items at this point, so Strength's starting to really pick up here as they move through the mid-game.
It's really cute because both of these teams have reason to believe that they can just win by scaling. Cloud9 can scale much better in standard team fights. Ashe, Victor, Graves, Shen can just become monsters, but then Team Liquid have Fiora, and they think if they have confidence that they can create 1v4 situations where they don't get initiated on because they can get QSS or Mikhail's, and Fiora can eventually just start killing Impact, they're okay with this game going to 40 minutes as well. So it's very rare that you have both teams that have separate late-game win conditions that they're confident in being able to achieve.
Well, big binding there for Mappet. No initiation there for Liquid. Targeting
this
up,
could be
it.
it.
Starting to lose a 1v1. Impact look to go back in. The grand challenge issue, but Impact gets the on, and there's your first blood.
Impact, well, there's your mid-game win condition. Impact, we said the Randos and Sunfire are going to make him a monster, and that's the second time Lorlo has gotten close to dying, and first time he actually died, by invading an enemy buff. Like, if he just stays in lane and continues to shove that out, he'd be fine, but he pushed his limits a little bit too far, and Impact makes him pay.
And despite the early lead in CS for Lolo due to the lane swap, 20 CS now up for Impact, and the first and only kill in the game now under his belt as well. Cloud9 can now really start to abuse the global power of Shen here. Trying to play a bit of a 1-4 as Impact's going to get the push. Data Jensen though down and sneaky. Goes down to Phoenix. Now Data moving back in his mat. Tags 2 with the Bard ulti. Impact though charges his way in and the damage from Jensen's pretty big. Cloud9 maybe looking to go back in, but the ulti goes wide for Bunny Fufu.
I'll have to see that again to see exactly how Sneaky died. Was it a little bit of a Zerver leg, I think? Like
maybe.
Yeah, something looked a little funny right there, but we'll get the replay to clean it up. Phoenix definitely gets something out because C9 was definitely looking to make an aggressive play right there. Sneaky dies before even getting his Ashe Arrow off. Then a bunch of damage is traded back by Jensen, but that buys Team Liquid some more time because when Lorla was down with Shen alive is the opportunity for Cloud9 to push it in. Watching this one more time. Oh my god. That wasn't lag at all. That was just him blowing up because Phoenix landed a double bomb on a minion and the radius was enough to catch Sneaky, which completely surprised him. That's some mastery of Zilean as a champion right there. Beautiful play by Phoenix.
That did an absurd amount of damage. Phoenix just blows poor Sneaky to pieces, and Team Liquid pick up the kill for themselves. So we talked about the game being even. Gold lead now up in Team Liquid's favor, but it's what, 400-500 up for them. Turret's almost even, although TL hold the advantage there. Seeing it up in Drake's, I suppose, if we want to split the difference in objectives, but now with a killer piece and Mountain Drake spawning in a minute 50. This game balanced very precariously, and it feels like at some point, it just has to bust wide open.
We say that, but we've seen some 70-minute games lately. If you've been watching the European LCS, you got those long ones, but I agree with you. Like, this game feels like it's on a razor's edge right now, and a big team fight could happen, just because both teams have tools to initiate very favorable fights and also chase down after winning a fight. It just hasn't happened yet, Pastry.
So, not yet, but 27 minutes in does mean that Baron is something to start thinking about. So maybe TL look for a trade here. Mountain Drake for Baron is probably a trade they're happy with.
Yeah, especially because they already have the Mountain Drake so they can take down Baron more quickly. But their team in particular doesn't necessarily kill Baron super fast. Sivir's single target damage is lower amongst other AD carries. Zilean has the double bomb burst, but 4 sustained DPS. And usually they have Lorlo set up in a side lane, and he's 3 levels down to Impact. That is the worst part of Team Liquid that makes you feel like they're losing this game, is you're wondering if he will ever be able to outscale Impact. He will, but it's going to take a really long time.
Yeah, and it might take a little too long here. His Impact only getting stronger. Added that Spectre's Cal into the mix, so looking for a presumed Spirit Visage, but still exerting dominance with that Glimpse of the Void. Will wear off soon-ish. I think it's got about 5 minutes left on it or so.
Yeah, it's got even less, I think. I believe they got that around 10 minutes, so he's only got about 2 minutes left of that buff. Lorlo will be very happy when that happens.
Should even things right back up. As Meteos does get caught in a stun, but relatively tanky on the Grave. Despite all the damage he's being built, actually did go Black Cleaver second. It was Titanic Hydra for Dardoch, so you win the prize on that round, Jack. Dardoch is going to take that Raptor away. Funny Fufu trying to get some counter vision back. But again, TL, they do have an open point here in mid. They're able to force down a little further. But that's not the best place to stand, Fabi, and he realizes this. Yeah. Backs away.
Rest of the team goes up to help him, and the vision is actually switched over to TL. They could potentially burst the Drake very quickly, but C9 is smart in threatening this Baron. And they're really just pushing and pulling. Once again, I'm a little surprised these teams aren't taking more shots as far as Sneaky just trying to get Ash Arrows off or Team Liquid trying to do a Bard Ultimate Zillion Bomb combo. But like I say, this happens when both teams are confident in their late game ability.
Cloud9 decide not to go for that Drake. It will actually go to Team Liquid. They'll get Mountain Drake number 2 for themselves. As Cloud9 prioritize Vision over the Baron instead. Sneaky not going to quite line up an arrow. Fabi's not the best target with Spell Shield up. We've already talked about Zillion. Unless you can kill him in one fell swoop, real bad news to Ash Arrow into.
Yeah, you got to be able to burst him down. Interesting that Matt has also gone with the Aegis just because they need that item, and Dardoch's gone with a slightly more aggressive build. So they're actually delaying their QSS and their Mikhails by going this direction, which does mean the Cloud9 would technically have more opportunity to try and make plays.
Well, still a bit of a sore point here in mid lane for them because they're trying to break through this mid lane turret, and it's just a little too healthy for them. Impact, you can see that buff very quickly wearing out, and Lolo playing smart this time, doesn't want to get killed again. Just going to stay back and farm up the wave when it's safe to do so. And unfortunately, Cloud9, despite Impact's early strength, just weren't really able to find a way to break a side lane with Shen. Doesn't push all that fast.
Yeah, the double bomb just destroyed Sneaky as soon as Impact had found his edge, and now Lorlo only one level down. And I also think it's important to point out that with double Mountain Drake, if Lorlo ever does solo kill Impact, Cloud9 needs to collapse immediately, because Fiora will be taking turrets so much more quickly with double Mountain Drake, 20% pre-mitigation extra damage to objectives. And not to mention, if Cloud9 is then forced away from an objective because they need to send 2 people for Lorlo, it makes it easier for Team Liquid to punish. So Mountain Drake, very good for Team Liquid with this team composition.
Well, again, it's really just one big moment maybe to break it all open, and Elder Dragon will actually be spawning as our next one. So 4 Dragons isn't too bad, 2 apiece there for either team, but Baron's a big objective. Elder Dragon will be up in a number of minutes, and all of a sudden, that one big moment we've sort of been building this game up to as the teams scale up, kind of build up their tools and build up their weapons. At some point, something bends. I don't know how long it's going to take, but these two teams have been playing a very delicate game, and I've been impressed to see them really play the map well and play the individual moments well as well.
Yeah. And they're going to kind of make this game come down to single decision points. Like, I have seen enough Fiora that I know if they space the map properly, Impact is just going to die to Lorlo. And that point is coming pretty quickly with Bloodthirster and then maybe even a defensive item. Like, when the Bloodthirster is completed, Lorlo won't die to Impact. He'll be able to lifesteal enough through his ultimate and through just base lifesteal that Cloud9 is going to be forced into making a move. Cloud9 hasn't been able to make a move before that. That point is not here yet, obviously. But watch his ability to fight back here.
Maybe he could get it, but Sneaky actually once again, dueling Phoenix, flashes out, looking for the outplay! Needs a few more waters, but there's Shen going to join in for it. Phoenix, who ulti, he does tick down, but now they have to make sure they get the kill here. Matt's also there, the taunt's going to land, Bunny Fufu lands a Winter's Bite in, Impact does get the kill, and Sneaky lives, and now Matt looks to be caught out of position, ultis, and tries to flash out, but he hits himself, the gravity field's there, and Sneaky's going to get a kill.
Wow, so a lot of greed going on there, actually. I'm not exactly sure how Sneaky and Phoenix started that fight against each other, but they were able to do that again because of Impact's lead against Lorlo. He was winning that 1v1, so Lorlo wasn't able to teleport, and he burned his ultimate and everything and just trying to deal with Impact. And he's using that power window of Shen right now where he's just stacked a ton of armor to make that happen. Now with Phoenix and Matt dead, they're going right for Baron.
Yep, just going to force it here. It's 3v5 right now with Baron helping TL out just a little bit. But Team Liquid are blind here in this pit. This Baron's awfully low.
How will they zone Dardoch out, or is Dardoch even going to go for a steal? The execute from the Graves isn't spectacular, so Dardoch would have a steal chance if he goes.
They wait, they're patient for it, and now just going to try and kill Dardoch, but it's actually not enough. Getting away, but Meteos does get it. Dardoch falls as well in collateral. Once again, Meteos makes the risky Baron smite, but he does get it.
Cloud9 as a team has been making a habit of that lately, actually, going for these, but Meteos has been fairly consistent in his ability to secure the objectives, because there's enough damage over the wall that they could make it a 50-50. Anyway, watching this, Sneaky's just trying to push, and Phoenix gets a stun right over the wall, which makes him think, all right, I can kill him. But it's a heal, and the double bombs have a cooldown. So Sneaky now has this window. As long as he dodges the next set of double bombs, he's okay, so he flashes out of it. And here, Sneaky actually wanted to wait, but either a minion hit him or something to proc it. Doesn't matter. Beautiful taunt by Impact. They also chain the stun from the Braum, and they collapse more quickly than TL can. Matt's Bard ultimate ineffective at the end, and now C9 looking to make their play. This was the Razor's Edge. One side of the Razor has cut the game. I think that's the way that analogy closes.
Basically how that works. And you can see Cloud9 already up 3,500 gold. Given the closeness of this game up until this point, that's actually a pretty big swing in momentum. We'll see what damage Cloud9 can get done with their Baron, though, and Elder Dragon also up in a minute 10. Cloud9, this is the opportunity to really seize control and try and close out the game, but Liquid in touching distance, given this state, if Cloud9 make a mistake.
But this is the fear for Liquid. If Lorlo can't win a fight against Impact, Cloud9's team fighting is just better. So Team Liquid can actually hold with 5 or with 4 right now, especially because Lorlo is over there trying to push the wave. At the moment, though, they're actually looking to trade stuff.
Yeah, Fabi actually forced to burn the ulti, spell shield down as well, as Cloud9 is looking to break open mid. It does go down. This inhib's also going to follow. Lolo is not going to do enough damage in top lane on his own. C9 just happily break mid inhib. Lolo is going to get 1 turret for his trouble, but that's not enough.
Yeah, because Impact is already back. He'd be able to join in again with the Shen ultimate if they decide to go, and Cloud9 still has a large duration of this Baron being up. Maybe they even go for a play with Asher or the next minion wave they get here. Zone Team Liquid off the turret. Also, you have to think about this bottom side. Like, Impact is still super strong with the Guardian Angel to boot, so can he push Lorlo off is the question.
Well, does get it then, but now just going to have to tend to the minions, so takes them out instead. Cloud9, though, continuing to siege this bottom lane tier 2. With Genshin just going straight forward. He's actually just going to look for Matt with the ulti. Pulse is there!
Whoa.
Arrow gets a snipe for Sneaky.
Lichbane Rylai's right there on Victor. Pretty good, pretty strong. And we mentioned how Team Liquid just cannot hold the candle to C9 in full-on team fights. And since Lorlo is not drawing extra attention, these pushes are becoming easy for Cloud9.
Yeah, and they're just going to keep charging in. Meteos quick draws forward towards Dardoch and Phoenix as another inhib's going to fall down. Impact and Lolo still on a merry chase here in the top lane. Impact, though, going to make his way back. Probably got an item to buy as Lolo. Again, creating what pressure he can, but base completely broken open now for Team Liquid.
2 inhibs open, you're not going to have very much time to split push anymore. And also the fact that Cloud9 can probably pull down towards Elder Drake right now. Burning the Shen ultimate just to get the extra damage here. I think it's worth it. Cloud9's going to maybe Elder Drake and go straight up mid, or Elder Drake shop and then go straight up mid.
Yep. Got the TP up soon as well for Impact, so global pressure still there. Dardoch maybe caught. Impact gets the taunt down. Now Bunny Fufu going to chase in. Matt in the area, but a good double binding is going to keep them out of the way. Magical Journey does escort Dardoch to safety. And Cloud9 do 5-man recall out, looking to make their final push.
They have the empowered recalls because of Baron still being there, and they have 2 minutes from the time of taking Elder Drake to make this happen. They have a wave they need to manage in the bottom side, so it's questionable whether they're actually going to be able to make full use of this super powerful yet very temporary buff, or if they're just taking it off the map so Team Liquid can't get it, and they're then just going to use the double inhibitor pressure without the Elder Drake to make a move. But based on the timing, they get about 1 minion wave in the top side to try and make something happen.
Well, we'll see what they can do, because they are now all converging onto that top lane. Hawkshot out, bit of extra vision. Bunny Fufu going to start pushing the wards forward as well. Does just sit in the tri-bush and see what he can see. Lead's definitely there now for Cloud9. Again, this window will not last forever, given how late we are into the game already. But Team Liquid have a pretty big storm to weather as Cloud9 look to take down the last few towers in top lane.
And even in answering some of our pre-series questions, like, this game doesn't necessarily do that because it's been so macro in the execution. Like, it just shows that Cloud9 can still communicate, and it showed that Impact was better than Lorlo. Like, that was the breaking point here. The macro is what it was, but it was really the performances of Impact so far. Now they're looking to push, but Baron runs out. It's going to be real hard to get in.
Well, I think the High Lamb shot calling research department might be getting a raise after this because macro game's been on point for Cloud9 all game long. As Impact and Lolo continuing to do battle. Meteor's still going to make it a 1v2. Lolo, can he get out of this? Actually got slowed by the Randuins. Actually lunges away, should be just fine. But Cloud9 continuing to apply that pressure.
Yep. They still have Super Dragon for another wave about. You can see it ticking down on the bottom left there on a buff bar. So that's just allowing them to really punish Lorlo while he's trying to clear these super minions. Cloud9 would love to get super minions in while they're assaulting that third inhibitor. It's just a matter of getting the timing right.
Yep. Big wave building bottom lane. So again, starting to really build up on that map strength they've shown, honestly, all game long. Team Liquid just need to find a few more minutes to hold, and then maybe they can reset the game enough to try and pull it back. But sneaky arrows in, looks for Phoenix and finds him. Bunny Fufu, though, going to eat the Tempered Fate from Bard. Bunny's going to find him as well, but Impact goes straight into the backline, and Cloud9's going to charge forward and try and take a turret. Impact uses the ulti, gets out onto Meteors. Team Liquid hold for now.
Yeah, not a great push there by Cloud9. Looked like Impact's ult was used on Meteos, who maybe flashed over the wall. Something funny was going down on the bottom side of that map, but exactly. Team Liquid hold, and that could potentially cycle them back on their inhibitors.
Well, inhib mid's coming back up soon. Almost up for bottom side as well, so Team Liquid gonna maybe put the map back to neutral as best they can make it. Cloud9 still up 7,000 gold. It does matter less now that we're deep into this game. But Elder Dragon's not going to be back for a while. Baron will be back up in 55 seconds, so there are certainly things to play for. Still, in fact, Impact also going to steal the blue away. This is a jerk. No.
Yeah, and it's a safe buff steal, unlike Lorlo's buff steals earlier on in the game, which got him punished. And I think this will be really tricky for Team Liquid, because while their inhibitors are cycling is when Baron is going to be coming back up, which is then going to try and make them defend exposed inhibitors against Baron. And really, the Baron-empowered minions are what stops Zillion from being such a wave-clear monster, because the double bombs aren't enough to take down a wave, but they are without the Baron. And I think Cloud9 might just be using this last little window of double inhibitors to try and finish off that turret. Because you remember in that last push, that turret had a sliver before they backed away.
Does rejam, but it's not that quick. Cloud9 looking, but nothing just yet here as TL very fervently holding on to that tower. Looks like Baron's up though, so Cloud9 going to look for that instead. Sneaky sees Dardoch, slows him with a volley. Does not commit on the rest of it though. Impact was waiting in base, looking for maybe a teleport or an ulti.
Yeah. Really, it's just one more play from Cloud9 and they can close out the game. But Team Liquid not completely knocked out yet, even if they seem to be getting pushed around. 4 full items now onto Lorlo, even though it's a max build for Impact. It's going to be still relatively competitive in the split pushing. It's really about, like, if Sneaky gets caught out of position, Team Liquid could still pull something back.
Happened once.
Jensen, though, is a monster in this game.
Yes.
Like, the damage he's building up is enough to, as we saw, just kind of straight up kill someone. Attacking against Matt.
And again, Sneaky able to play confident here. Dodges out of the way of that Boomerang Blade. C9 just baiting Team Liquid, honestly, to come fight them in the Baron pit. In fact, I believe
they're doing it.
Impact.
They're actually doing it right now. Yeah.
Hey!
They're zoning them out. Lorlo is not applying much pressure in the bottom side because he was dealing with super minions for a while. They get to see it with his Trinket, but they need to be able to walk through Sneaky, who's just pegging them with volleys.
It's a commit. TL teleport in. Bard ulti there, but C9 just peel back and reset.
Yeah, and now they've gotten Lorlo's teleport, and the split push pressure is gone for now.
Really smart play, actually, from Cloud9. The wackiest of two-man Barons that Shen and Victor actually did a huge amount of work onto that path.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. If they had double Mountain Drake, they would have killed it, actually. But that just kind of goes to show the difference in the Drakes right now and how it would apply to strategy. But Team Liquid actually trying to make a push in the mid lane. Very risky.
Oh, Impact huge on, actually. And now the arrow nails Phoenix as well. Can they take him out? They can. Doesn't use his ulti. And now Cloud9 leap forward and take out Lorlo as GA is going to pop on the bottom side of your screen. Jensen and Impact going to stay around to finish it up. But Lorlo flashes out to safety. And that was disaster for Team Liquid as Lorlo is going to get hunted down.
Yeah, just I think a big strategic mistake. And Lorlo misses his hop over the Drake pit, which lets Jensen finish off. I think that's going to be game pastry. Another massive play by Impact. I want to see that again because it was just at the very bottom of the screen, but really potentially a game-winning taunt.
Huge taunt there as C9 break mid and just look to charge forward and finish off the game. Death timers are long late into this one, and Cloud9 going to try and finish off this Nexus.
Yeah, Dardoch and Fab are going to try to say something about that, though.
Eats an ulti there from Bunny Fufu. Dardoch tanking in the front line. Bunny Fufu, though, lived through it all, and Matt's forced to flash out of the way. Cloud9 going to take out one Nexus turret, looking for number 2 as Fabi and Matt looking for a miracle hold.
That's the trickiest thing against Sivir, though, is one ricochet and the wave is potentially gone, and Cloud9 doesn't currently have a Baron buff, so they're still going to have to wait. They cycle the inhibitors down once again, but Team Liquid's going to come back alive, and C9's going to have to take another Baron and then end this game later.
Well, a little bit more patience required for Cloud9 as they could not deliver the killing blow. Baron, though, should be all but theirs at this stage of the game. Dardoch still dead for 25 seconds. That should be more than enough time for C9 to kill this.
Yeah, because Lorlo doesn't have teleport, he can't fully collapse down here, but Phoenix, Matt, and Fabi will be here, and because of how low C9 is, Team Liquid's going to go.
They got sneaky. Fabi looking in again, but doesn't follow up with a binding. C9 just going to hold off on this. Can TL steal this without a smite? Matt, they're going to get chunked out. Jensen's going to wipe him off the rip. Baron goes over to Cloud9, and now Phoenix getting chased down as Damage is there. Yep, someone got revived, but Fabi dies again.
Yeah.
I was like, who's that? Oh, it's Fabi. Dying in the back line after Chrono Shift. TL again down 2 members after the Baron
Oh my goodness, yeah. Definitely some strategic mistakes here from Team Liquid down the stretch, but Cloud9 has been playing a fairly clean game. It becomes scary because the game is getting so late, but we're going to get to see this mid lane push right here where Team Liquid, it was flash taunt. And this is actually something I wanted to talk about before the game. As you can see, the combo comes in afterwards with the Ash Arrow and the Graves ultimate, which would be a good thing. But so many players are addicted to the taunt flash. Impact, more than anyone else, will flash and then taunt because he can still cover, he can get multi-man taunts more easily that way instead of a guaranteed taunt onto one person. Lorlo misses dash over the wall. Meanwhile, on the main stream, right here, they're going for the win. 5 versus 4, Fabi's still dead.
Yep, C9 going to look to take this down. TL, very difficult defense, and it will not happen this time around. Cloud9 going to take the Nexus and game number 1.
And when you look at the scoreboard after this game, it's going to look like an incredibly dominant victory for Cloud9. And in a lot of ways, it was. And the fact that they didn't make strategic mistakes, and the fact that nobody died, and the fact that Team Liquid was never really in a position to win, but it was